The first brick hadn't even been laid when she appeared. "You can't build here," she shrieked, her voice a screeching siren slicing through the quiet morning air, shattering the peace I'd been savoring. My heart, which had been humming with the quiet pride of a dream finally coming to life, seized up in my chest. What in the world was she talking about? She stood there on the edge of my lot, hands on her hips, a perfectly coiffed blonde bob rigid in the faint breeze, a sneer twisting her perfectly manicured face. I took a deep breath, the scent of fresh-turned earth and pine needles filling my lungs, trying to calm the sudden, panicked thrumming in my veins. "Ma'am, this is my property. I have all the permits and the deeds right here," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, gesturing to the thick stack of paperwork on the passenger seat of my old pickup. "My name is on the deed, and I have a building permit for a single-family home." She just laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. "Oh, honey, the last owner told me this was to be a communal green space. It's in the R80, Homeowners Association bylaws. You think you can just show up and build a house on my land?" My eyebrows shot up. Her land? This was ridiculous. I'd spent 2 years of my life savings, sacrificed weekends, and pored over countless documents to secure this lot. I had a vision, a simple small, modern cabin tucked away from the noise, place to call my own. This land was a symbol of my hard work, my escape, my future, and she was standing on it, telling me it was hers. Her voice rose another octave. "I am a prominent member of this community and I will not stand for this. This is a violation, a total violation." She started pacing back and forth, her expensive athletic shoes crunching on the gravel, a performance for an audience of one. A low growl rumbled in the distance, not a dog, just the sound of a large truck idling down the road, waiting to pour the foundation. I felt a pang of despair. Were we really going to have to do this? I tried to reason with her, to show her the official plat map on my phone, the one with my name clearly printed on it, the one that designated this specific rectangle of land as private property. She wouldn't even look. "That's fake. It's a fake document. You probably just printed it off the internet. You fraud. I'm calling the police right now. You are trespassing on community property." My stomach dropped. Calling the police? For me being on my own land? This was next-level entitlement. She pulled out her phone, already dialing, her mouth a tight line of self-righteous fury. I just stood there, speechless, the anger and frustration bubbling up inside me. How could one person be so completely disconnected from reality? I thought of all the late nights, the ramen noodle dinners, the deferred vacations, all for this moment, all for this piece of ground. And now it was a stage for her bizarre drama. A cold sweat broke out on my brow, and I just stood there, hands in my pockets, trying to appear unbothered, though my heart was pounding a frantic drum solo against my ribs. I could hear the faint, staticky echo of her one-sided conversation with the dispatcher. "Yes, a trespasser. He's trying to build a house on community property. It's an eyesore, and he's refusing to listen to me," she yelled, as if I were a belligerent child. The absurdity of it all almost made me laugh. Almost. The hum of the idling truck felt like a timer, a quiet countdown to either resolution or utter chaos. The truck driver, a weathered man named Frank, looked over with a raised eyebrow, a silent question in his gaze. I gave a small shrug, a gesture that conveyed, "I don't know, man. Welcome to the neighborhood." The patrol car pulled up about 10 minutes later. 2 officers stepped out, a younger one and an older one with a calm, no-nonsense look about him. "Everything okay here?" the older officer asked, his gaze sweeping from the angry woman to me, and then to the idling truck. The Karen immediately sprang to life, practically sprinting to the officer's side. "Officer, thank heavens you're here. This man is a trespasser. He's trying to build a house on a community green space. I told him he couldn't. But he refuses to leave, she said in a rush, pointing a trembling finger at me. I stepped forward, holding my hands up. Officer, my name is Alex. This is my property. Here are my deeds and my building permits, all properly filed with the county. I have everything in order. The older officer nodded slowly, his eyes still fixed on me. Ma'am, you said this was a community green space. What's the address on this property? He asked her. She blinked, thrown off by the direct question. Well, I don't know the exact address, but it's lot R80. I know it's a designated green space. Mr. Henderson, the last owner, confirmed it to me personally. My heart sank. Mr. Henderson, the man who sold me the land. A faint twist of dread began in my stomach. Was there some last-minute verbal agreement I wasn't aware of? Was my dream about to go up in smoke? The officer walked over to me, and I handed him the thick folder. He began to flip through the papers, his lips a thin, thoughtful line. I could feel the Karen's triumphant glare on my back. A smug smirk had replaced her angry frown. The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the rustling of papers and the soft clicks of the officer's pen as he made a few notes on a small pad. He took his time, scanning the documents with an expert's eye. Every passing second felt like an eternity. Finally, he looked up, his expression unreadable. He walked over to the Karen, who was now primping herself, a look of vindicated pride on her face. Ma'am, he said, his voice flat and authoritative. The man's paperwork is in order. He has the deed to this property and all the necessary permits to build. This is, without a doubt, his land. The Karen's face fell, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. But Mr. Henderson, he told me, she stammered, her voice a whisper of its former self. The officer's gaze softened slightly, but his tone remained firm. I spoke with Mr. Henderson on the phone just now to confirm some details. He confirmed he sold the land, and it is a private residential lot. He also mentioned something else. Ma'am, he said you were his ex-wife and that you two had a rather contentious divorce, and he was quite happy to sell this lot from right under you. He said you'd been trying to buy it from him for years, but he didn't want to see it developed into a community dog park, as you'd insisted. My jaw dropped. The twist. The side twist. My stomach flipped with a sickening combination of surprise and sudden, immense relief. All this was because of a bitter divorce and a woman's desperate attempt to get what she wanted, regardless of the truth. The Karen's face went from a mottled red to a ghostly white. Her perfectly composed facade crumbled in an instant. The officer continued, his voice now a final, unwavering command. This man is not a trespasser. You, however, are now trespassing on private property, and if you do not leave, I will have to cite you for harassment. The R80 Homeowners Association bylaws have no authority over private property deeds. Now, I suggest you go home. She stood there for a beat, a full minute, her eyes wide with humiliation and defeat. She shot me one last look, not of anger, but of pure, unadulterated shame. She turned and walked back to her car. Her shoulders slumped, the rigid poise gone completely. Frank, the truck driver, finally honked. A short, sharp burst of sound that felt like a celebratory fanfare. I let out a long, shaky breath, the tension finally leaving my body. I walked over and clapped Frank on the shoulder. All right, let's get that foundation poured, I said, a wide, genuine smile spreading across my face. It was more than just a house I was building. It was a victory. It was the physical manifestation of justice and the knowledge that some dreams are worth fighting for, even against the most irrational of storms. The land was mine. The sun was shining, and my story was just beginning. It was time to build.